Painting with Nicola on my YouTube channel. As you can see, I've got a little helper here this morning. Bruno, would you like to just go somewhere else, sweetheart? Thank you. Right, now I am going to paint this little bit of, well, it looks to all intents and purposes like an acorn that we would say in England comes from an oak tree. But this is quite a slightly different one. This is coming from a shrub, and you see it has a leaf in it, very prickly, a bit like holly. So I think this is something called scrub oak, but that's by the by. So without any further to do, I'm going to paint this. Now I'm going to zoom out. Oops, sorry, wrong way. So you can see my paint box, because so many people say, we want to see you get into your water and everything else. It's really rather complicated. Right, there's my water. A piece of absorbent roll. Now I'm going to start off with looking at the colours. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leaves. There's my oak acorn thingy. Now that acorn thingy is about the same size roughly as the leaves, so let's use that as a guide. Okay, I'm going to use a limited palette. I'm going to start with, what am I going to start with? I think probably cadmium yellow. Let's see what we've got. But first of all, I'm going to give myself a little guide line, a very faint line. Let me move that out a bit. In fact, if I go further across, right, let's try that. Okay, so I'm going to say I want it to fit in there. It's going to be about life size actually. So that's going to be the end of that leaf there, and that's going to be the end of the stalk, and that is a fairly straight line. Now can you see how faint and pale that is? This is the thing with watercolours, you've really got to start pale. Now looking at where that leaf comes there and that is there, it's about 2/3. So if that's the end of the leaf, then the leaf is about, yeah, halfway. That'll do. The acorn is about there. Right, that's fine. So that's the acorn. Coming straight from the acorn is that leaf. Further down from the acorn is that leaf. Almost opposite is that leaf. Then you've got this leaf here, and the leaf coming out there, and the acorn is coming out here. Now another thing I want you to observe, although you're not going to go into this much detail, is the structure. I think I can move this without upsetting it. As I say, those of you who have done courses with me, I always advise you to closely observe before you paint. And those of you who will have done the beginner's course will know that I often make comparisons to structures such as that there, pineapple, fir cone, sunflower head. It's nature's, what would you call it? It's all to do with maths apparently. But anyway, so we're not really going to worry about that too much. But if you were to observe it, what you're looking at is roughly it's a thing like that, and it goes like this. Okay, like your pineapple, your palm tree, trunk, fir cone, lots of things. Okay, so we've got that. Now I'm going to start thinking about the leaves. You can see on the edge of these leaves, well, I can see where that is against the dark leaf. It's quite yellow. So I'm going to start with a very weak cadmium yellow. And I'm just going to, let me see, I need to get this leaf in first, which sort of comes down like that. And I am, at this stage, going to do this roughly. Because I want to see that highlight against that leaf. So if I'm careful, when I come to painting the rest of it, in fact there's no reason why I can't paint the whole jolly leaf, because we're going to mix a blue to make the green. So we've got that in roughly. Okay, that's one. Come down here, let's get the shape in the yellow again. Very weak. And this actually goes beyond the end of the stalk. And of course the veins are in fact yellow. Right, and this one is behind. Okay, now this one here, something's had a jolly good nibble at it. It's not that structured, the spiky bits. Let me just move that a bit because it's shadow. And then we've got this one here. So this is just a very weak sketch just to get us started. Right, that's all my leaves in place. Now the acorn bit. Beautiful shape, and it is quite lemony down to the base. Let's take that while I've got it on my brush, just take it off. And it's quite lemony in bits on there as well. Right, now I need a piece of paper for testing my colours. So what am I going to do with this green? Let's try some ultramarine. Well, obviously it wants to be more intense than that. No, it's not dark enough. Let's try a bit of indigo, might be nicer. Right, straight from the pan. Straight from the pan. A bit more yellow. Oh, that'll do for me. A bit more blue probably. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take more of the cadmium, bung it in there, some of the indigo. There might even be an argument for a bit of raw umber or something. Bit more blue. Okay, so what I intend to do is, I'm going to start with this leaf. But I don't want it all to be as precise as that. So what I'm going to do is be a bit crazy. Just dipped up, I've just taken up more water, no more paint. And I'm just going to pull some of these out because they're really quite spiky chaps. Right, likewise here, the leaf, I'm going to do the leaf underneath because I want that yellow on the highlight to show. Now I haven't gone back to the paint, so we'll do this one in a precise way. This is a number 5 Winsor & Newton. Came in a very nice set actually. Foundation, that's what it's called. Now, if you can get these yellow veins really fine, then that's really cool because that's giving you that bit of detail. And I'm coming into this other leaf. And concentrating on getting that edge. Then I'm going to take a bit more water and I'm just going to splodge that about a bit. More water going on there. Just want to get this sort of blocked in. Well, it's quite dark underneath, so I'm going to take a bit more colour. It's dark because it's partially in the shade. Sorry if you can hear noise in the background, it's my cats. Bruno usually. This is where we're doing the negative. Sometimes it's nice just to paint without really worrying about style. Right, okay. Rinsed my brush off and I'm just going to smooth that out. Oh, rumba. Let's get that stalk in a bit better. It's very woody, it was quite difficult to break off. letting that bleed into there. And I will come back and do a bit more on that for a bit of detail. I'm also going to let it bleed into this side here for a shadow. And there is a little brown, for want of a better word, on the nipple. And there's more around there. Okay. Going back for more intense raw umber. And where would I be without my Payne's grey? I haven't done much painting recently for a variety of reasons, so this is quite nice to paint without really worrying about it. And I think you have to do that sometimes. Don't worry about the outcome. Just enjoy the pleasure of the doing. Now, as crude as that is, it has a certain charm about it. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of that in that side. See, now look, see how beautifully that is bleeding. And actually there's quite a bit of shadow around the middle. Timing, as we know, is everything. Just take a little of it out. So you've still got time to play with things. Okay, now I'm going to go back in here. So some bits are quite detailed and some bits are really rather casual, but I rather like that. I don't like this, but by doing that, taking a highlight out in the centre of the section between the veins gives the appearance of a curve. So see how much you can actually mess around with it and get over this thing, oh, once you've made a mistake or done something you don't like, you can't alter it. Well, but you need to play with your paints and see what they can do. Now, there is a crazy sort of cohesion coming along with this now, believe it or not. I started off doing sort of a fairly precise thing, then I went a bit sort of, oh, let's have more water. Then I went back to something else. So I think really the lesson in this is just to keep playing and trying different things. No, I rather like that. In fact, I like it a lot. Yes, Bruno? Right, now just a bit more intensity here. And there. Oh, look at that bleed. Wonderful, perfect. Do settle down, Bruno. Oh, I've forgotten that side altogether. Now this needs sorting out. I know what I've done wrong. I completely forgot the central vein. Now, as I've said before, if you can't lift your colour out, you have to go back and put some dark in. See, it works. And do a bit more here. Now I need to get some dark behind here to show that that leaf is on top. So we'll just crisp up that outline, and I will also take a teensy bit of raw umber, and that will bleed in. Right, now, dried off, I am just going to do a faint, there's a few little, it's all dimply, it's rather sweet. Just give an impression. And I need to get a line around there. Again, you don't have to do every bump. Right. I'm going to take some yellow and green. And just do a bit of splattering, because I think I've had enough of that now. But the thing I want to get across more than anything in this little painting is to encourage you just to play and not worry about the outcome, and to realise that you can make changes. Now, you never know, I might come back to this when it's dried and think, oh, I'll just do that there and that there and all the rest of it. So you just don't know. So I'm going to leave it at that. I hope that's been a little distraction for you. And remember, if you want to know more, all the details will be in the description box below this video. And whatever you do, keep safe and keep painting.